What's up, everybody? Welcome back to ACAR's Raw Podcast featuring the one and only Ben Sexton. Say hi, Ben.
How you going, guys?
So due to high demand, Ben is back on the channel. We were going to wait 12 months, but you guys couldn't wait, so he's back. I mean, not many people get this privilege, but bloody hell, now we're going to do it for everyone. Thanks a lot.
No worries, mate. We're just
So what
here.
brings you back to the channel?
Oh, we're here to practice our skills, aren't we?
We want to make it on the, what is it? The Joe, what's his name?
Well, you want to go on
Joe Rogan show?
You want to go on Joe Rogan? All right.
Do you want to get on the Joe Rogan show?
I think Joe's got enough guests. I think I'm okay for now.
I can't imagine this guy on the Joe Rogan show. I reckon he'll give Joe a run for his money.
I honestly don't think so.
I reckon you'll have something to say.
Thanks for the input. Thanks for the motivation.
We could do an edit where like Joe's talking and then Ben's talking and make it look like they're in an interview together.
I mean, and then we could just get the AI to sound like Joe Rogan, like everybody else is doing, so then they could actually sound like he's asking me questions.
You know what? AI is really powerful right now. Apparently you're on the higher version.
Yeah, the ChatGPT 4. Yeah, it's great.
So what's that like?
Well, at the moment, I'm using it to write code for an app I want to develop.
For an app you want to develop?
Yeah, it's a little bit like spiritual, little numerology thing, but I really want to build this app that like allows people to be able to just define their number a lot quicker than how they would do it normally if they were going for a day-to-day life. So by define their number, it means like if you understand numerology, that every number between 1 through to 9, so every digit has a different meaning. And so any number can always be broken down into a number between 1 and 9. Does that make sense? So say for instance, you've got 11 and 12. So you got 1, 1, 1, 2. So it'll be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2, which would be 5. That's how that would work, right? But then if the number gets bigger, and say for instance, you end up with a number like 15, then it would be 1 plus 5 equals 6. So that would be a numerology number, so 6.
So you're getting ChatGPT to do all this?
Yeah, trying to write an app so that when you take a video of something, so you point your camera at it, just like the way Google Translate works. It recognizes the text, so it would recognize the number, then it would apply the formula that I would write out to figure out what we need to do, and then from that it would pull out a number, and then that number would then refer to obviously a bit of data in the app that would pull up a definition for what that number actually means. So instead of like, let's say for instance there's a lady named Tracy. She goes into the bookshop and she's like, oh, I really don't know if I'm keen for this book or not. And then she turns it around, and a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll add it up, especially like people who are into that sort of thing, they'll add it up by hand. And if the ISBN number's like, I don't know, 12 digits long, just go da 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 da. Imagine if you just grab your phone, point it at it, bang. 10 seconds later, she has the number, the definition. She goes, I'm looking for 2s today. This book's a 2, I'm going to buy it. Or I'm looking for 3s and it's a 2, I'm not going to get it. Some people live their life like this.
So what would you do if there was no AI, no ChatGPT?
Well, I would just reach out to my network of friends, which is vast and ever growing, which is amazing. I'm very grateful for. And then see who knows who, then who knows who, then who knows who. And someone will know how to code that up for me.
That's very true. So where do you think GPT and AI is going in the future?
Oh, man. It could go anywhere.
So for example, if someone said to you, would you put, like instead of investing in Bitcoin and stocks and things like that, if AI was a share, I'm sure it is, or like ChatGPT was a share, would you like invest in that?
No. Seems too easy.
You reckon?
Seems too easy. I'm never ever just going to be like, oh bang, seems too easy. It has to be something. And that's why it doesn't work, right? AI is greater than stocks. It's greater than shares. It's greater than everything.
Yeah.
AI is a feature inside of a company, not a company itself. OpenAI is the company, yes. They're developing the first tech, and sure, they'll be like the Apple stock or something. But, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me.
So what would you invest your money into?
I just invested into crypto like I'm already doing.
And do you see that it's going to pay off in the future, like all these people are saying, or do you think it's just a big, what do they call it, pump and dump?
Pump and dump, big Ponzi scheme. Yeah, the good old Ponzi scheme. Well, Elon Musk, literally a day ago, just released a Doge logo for Twitter, and then Doge went up like by a crap load amount.
I was looking at it the other day. I should have invested.
I mean, like, crypto, in terms of like those meme coins and stuff, it's all based on the popularity, right? It's all going to be based on, what's it called? The social metrics, or how everybody's going to respond to like FOMO. That's the word I'm looking for. There's another word, social studies and science study it all. Human behavior, how the stock market runs. But with crypto, it runs quicker and runs faster because there's more lucrative gains to be made. Because stock market, you get like a 20-30% bump in a year. That's a fantastic day, like a fantastic year. Crypto, you get 30% in like an hour. So like there's a shit ton of urgency. Like it's either you're in or you're out. Like you don't think about it that much. You just either go all in, all out, or you go a little bit in. Depends on the person's trading. And obviously depends on how crazy the FOMO becomes. Because say for instance, Elon does something really big like he used to do, and the price of Bitcoin went up, went back down, depending on if Tesla accepted Bitcoin. That was back in like a couple of years ago. And then obviously he stopped talking about it for a while, and now he's coming back with Doge, and now we're going with that same thing. So is the pattern going to repeat itself, or have people learnt that the meme coins really, unless they have any functionality, are they actually going to work?
Yeah, because that blew up a few years ago, didn't it?
Yeah, see the thing is like meme coins, right? The whole reason why they're a meme coin is they don't do anything. They just sit there on your computer and they look cool. So it's like similar to what NFTs were at the beginning, like they're just pieces of art, and then obviously there's something a little bit to it. But with Dogecoin or like any sort of meme coin, it's all based on like how many people want it versus how many supply. So it's the ultimate game of supply and demand. That's why Bitcoin will ultimately win, because the supply is fixed, just like Doge is fixed, but Doge is fixed at like trillions of digits, whereas Bitcoin is 21 trillion. Once 21 trillion is gone, it's either trillion or billion. Don't quote me on it. But once they're all gone, you can't get any more. And then if everybody needs Bitcoin to survive, then that supply and demand will create that currency, right? And then eventually it'll become global adoption, because that company wants it, this company wants it, that company wants it. So it becomes like this ability for people to pay with it. So then social adoption. And then when social adoption comes, if you think about like the adoption graph, we have like early adopters, then you have like people coming in, then you have like mainstream, and then you suddenly have the late adopters, like that bell curve sort of shape. Then that's when everybody's going to make their money. And it's on the way up. You won't be making money on the way down unless you're doing something pretty tricky or coming up with something new.
So in terms of Elon Musk, right, he's a pretty influential guy. Like, he says something on Twitter and like the whole world's like either going left or right. Yeah. Do you know of the guy called How to Beast? No, sorry, How to Mr. Beast, sorry? Yeah,
Mr. Beast. He's fantastic. He's the best influencer, best guy who could be on the planet.
He's very neutral in the sense of what he makes pretty much content that anyone can watch. Like it's not age specific, it's not gender specific, it's not, you have to be a certain, you know.
The thing with Mr. Beast versus Elon Musk is trying to save humanity by sending us to Mars. I think that was his quote. Like he wants to save humanity. Like there's people who want to destroy humanity. He's one of the people who wants to save humanity. Mr. Beast is kind of like, okay, how can I help as many people as possible as soon as possible?
Yep, exactly.
So he started with the idea that he's trying to start with a YouTube channel, and like he did whatever he could to build a following, and now obviously his following is in the millions, right?
It's second 180 subscribers, million.
Yeah.
Like he's probably apparently he's the second biggest YouTuber in the world.
Yeah. But see, the thing about these YouTubers are, they don't have the same desires that the people who built capitalism do. They don't have the same desires as those big companies, because they don't have, sure they have a company and they've got a big, like when you're obviously operating that big and you've got budgets as big as movie studios, they're going to obviously have a little bit of structure. But the person running it has come from ground roots most of the time, and they're still down to earth. And Mr. Beast is down to earth.
Yeah.
So even though people say, oh, he gives a gift and then the people have to pay tax on it, and then obviously it becomes a hassle, but then he also offers the ability just to sell them back the gift and get cash straight off the bat. So it's just a transaction. So imagine just like walking into the shops and he's like, oh yeah, you did a really nice job, you served me well. Cool, because you're the servant, the server, he comes in and buys something and he goes, oh, by the way, I left my Tesla out the back for you. And it's just like, what? Like that. It's almost stupidity in generosity. But the world needs people like that to counterbalance the people who are so the opposite, right?
I feel like social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, anything, a lot of people are starting to do this kind of generous stunts, whether it's real or not. Like it's becoming a like very often thing now.
Yeah, so it's becoming like, is it a copycat model, or are they doing it themselves?
Yeah.
Like the other thing you can do with a big following, right, is you can make an issue more aware of. Like, I think I watched a video on Mark Rober the other day, and he was talking about a company that was literally using drones to fly blood and medical supplies in an African country. And so what would happen is, like, literally he went to that country and he learned how it works. It's called Zipline. The company's called Zipline. And so he went to the country and he literally made the whole world, because he's obviously a really big YouTuber too. He gets like hundreds of millions of views. He made the whole world aware of this company called Zipline, which is literally saving people's lives every 90 seconds, because they're sending out orders of blood, they're sending out orders of medicine to these countries, these hospitals that are in the middle of nowhere that obviously need supplies, because there's villages out there that have hospitals, but they can't get the supplies there. So the drones literally fly up, automated, obviously because they're drones, and then they drop the packages off in the backyard of the hospital. The hospital obviously uses it, saves people's lives. Yeah. And obviously that's the humanitarian aspect of it, but then he also goes through the engineering part of it. So he's combining his like passion of engineering, but he's also highlighting people who are performing good for the world who you wouldn't even know about, because it hasn't reached that level of awareness yet. But then it will reach that level of awareness, because the same company's trying to do door-to-door deliveries and all sorts of things using drones to drop food and stuff. If you watch the video, it's really fascinating. So Mark Rober did that one. But if you look at those two YouTubers just as an example, the fact that they came from nothing, or they came from a good understanding of and just a good soul, their ability to influence so many people can inspire so many other people. Now, are they trying to copy them just so they can be rich and have the money? And normally the people who try and copy somebody just for the fact that they want the wealth and the fame behind it, normally don't have the drive or the mentality, or just life gets in the way, stops them from performing. But if you get someone who gets inspired by that content and then does something that will make other people inspired, and then they grow their following, then they'll also want to go down that generosity road too. Because generous people have such positive energy around them, and they vibrate so highly that they attract more positive energy. And if we have more people like that in the world, then obviously it'll be a better place, without sounding too cliche.
I feel like, what he's doing has affected a lot of people, and a lot of people are trying to do that. I don't know whether they want to do it because they see it works, or because I feel like a lot of people have changed. Like a guy, Luke Irwin in Sydney, he's completely changed. He used to be that guy that just pisses everyone off, and then now he's gone to a person where he's just giving out money to everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, are they doing it for themselves, or are they doing it for others?
You don't know. You don't know.
And unless they get to a situation where it becomes you become very aware of what they're doing.
How do you know? You don't know.
It's not up to you to know. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you can't... I was in the store the other day, literally today, and this lady came in and she was talking about all the radio waves and the Wi-Fi and everything that's going wrong with the world, and how the world is all these different things aren't good for the human body. But then the shopkeeper just said to her, all you can do is protect yourself and do what's right for you. If you worry about all these outside external factors, and the best thing you can do is to learn how to protect yourself from the external factors, and then not worry about how they are there. Because how they are there is too big to even imagine changing, right? But if you can at least protect yourself and then teach someone else how to protect themselves, then it'll make a much more of a better difference in terms of your mentality. Yeah. So coming back, Alex Hormozi did a...
Oh yeah, Alex Hormozi. He's big on YouTube as well.
Well, he's big everywhere, right? But he did a post.
Didn't he do gymacquisition.com or something?
Yeah, so he's got that business. So he did a video recently too called literally Copycat, which is people copying him to make same content that looks the same so they can grow their following, so they can obviously be as successful as him. But if people are just creating content and they don't have the passion or they don't have the drive or it's just not their plan, it won't work.
Yeah.
That's why they're copycats. And people will be able to tell it straight away because it's inauthenticity. You have to be authentic. And if you're not authentic, people will tell because the energy you will put out will attract bad energy, and it will just get really, really hard for you. And the more people that you have around you that are attracted by the negative energy that you're putting out, the harder it is to get out of it. Because it's literally, you either start spiraling up by surrounding yourself with positive energy and helping people, and then that will attract more people to help you, and you're helping them, and then that community grows. Or if you're creating content out of negative energy, out of want and desire and like not trying to help people, just trying to help yourself, very selfishness, you're attracting negative people watching your videos. Sure, you'll get a couple of good ones, but most of the people will get negative. And then at the same time, you're copying someone else, so people can see you're inauthentic, so then you'll get negative comments, and it will just come across wrong. And before you know it, that negative spiral will literally start influencing everything you do. Sure, you might get rich quick, because you might get like a shit ton of like content views straight away, but at the end of the day, what they're built on, their foundation is built on sand, and they're not built on stone. And that comes down to that parable, whether you're looking at it from the Bible, you're looking from all sorts of different stories. The fact is, you don't build your house on sand, you build your house on stone. Otherwise, it'll come crashing down.
And how do you feel about these crystals that you've been wearing lately?
Oh, man. So, let me just take a breath. That was a bit of a conversation. Like, if you watched the previous podcast, and obviously you did because we were here, it's all about belief. It's belief that that's the right thing. It's one of the things I've been looking into highly lately is intuition. And intuition can come across as that witchcraft and that paganism to some people, and it can come across as spirituality to other people, and it can come across as fun to some people. Now, I'm in the mixed bucket of I'm having fun. Now, with crystals, they all have different types of meanings and different types of things, but one of the things that you have is you have this animal instinct inside you that you can train. And literally today I was reading this book about half an hour before I started training tonight, and it was talking about the difference between spiritual intuition and animal intuition. Now, animal intuition you can train by being more aware of how your body feels. So if you walk into a space and suddenly you feel like your gut turns, right? You're like, oh, something's not right here. But other times, this is how I pick my crystals, believe it or not. It sounds stupid and silly, and I can't wait for everyone to start laughing. But I walk into the shop and I say hello, and the people there, I know them quite well now because it's been a couple of months. I just stand in a spot, and based on where I finish standing in that spot, I kind of go, do I feel like I want to move? And I'll start a conversation, and normally someone will come up to me and have a conversation with me, and then we'll start walking, or I'll stay there. And then I'll look around and I'll go, oh, I wonder what it is. And literally today I went into the shop, and I've been having this feeling, and I've been working with this other sort of angel deck card things, and which are like these little sort of tarot things you pull on a daily basis that'll have like meanings and stuff. And one of the things it kept talking about was this idea of chlorite quartz, and it's called ghost quartz, and it's this type of like see-through crystal. And as I walked into the shop, I kind of said, do you have any of this sort of stuff? And she showed me like this little tiny little one, and I had to look at it. I was like, oh, that's not right for me. Like it's tiny. And then I was looking at it, and I was like, oh wow. And so as I was walking past this cabinet, I suddenly stopped, and I turned and I looked down, and she's like, are you looking at that one? And I was like, yeah, I'm looking at that one. And she's like, that's ghost quartz clue. How did you know? And then I honestly, like, as I was looking at it, like, started feeling a little bit teary because ghost quartz apparently it helps clean and detoxify your energy around whether it's something that's been holding you back or like something like that. And so I just felt like, wow, like something is calling me to that. And whether it's that 20% belief we're talking about with placebo, or there's actually something going on there, it's like I got into that space, I stood in front of that cabinet, And then I was drawn towards the thing. And then because the lady in there works there all the time, right? And that's her shop. She's very intuitive with all that stuff too, because she's highly spiritual. She was like, that's the one. She picks it up, puts it in my hand, tells me to sit down. And I go sit down, and sometimes you can feel the crystal's heartbeat. So when you touch a crystal, if it's for you, you can actually feel it vibrate a little bit. And as I sat there, and I literally just like closed my eyes, I literally felt like I was being lifted up like a feather, and then just like caressed. And then all of a sudden, all my worries dissipated. And I just felt so much better. And so whenever I go in and have a look for a crystal, it's like my soul knows I'm looking for something, and it guides me there. But as soon as I start to think about it too much, it shuts off. So it's almost like you just follow that feeling of what your gut's saying. So that's your animal intuition.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it, exactly. And so there's so many things that obviously I have to learn and discover about this sort of spirituality side that I've never ever explored before in my life. I'm really excited to go down that path just because I love having fun and trying things out and experimenting and testing things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to picking crystals for myself, I normally have about 3 or 4, even saying it now, I can feel my fingers starting to like fire up a little bit and like get a little bit vibraty. Yeah, I have about 3 to 4 signs before I even know which one I'm going for next.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Did you have that at the beginning when you first started with them?
The first crystal I got was a piece of obsidian, and I had it around my neck. And the day I got that piece of obsidian, there was another one I was looking at, but I didn't go for that one. And then I walked out of the shop, and I felt good, and I was like, it was a little bit dainty, and it didn't feel like it was like just a black stone, right? It's not like this, a little bit smaller. And then that night I went to sleep, I had a dream about the other one. And then the day after, I had a dream about the other one. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm taking this one back. I'm returning it. I'm going to go with the more expensive one. And now this thing hasn't left my neck unless I fall asleep, like go to sleep. And it just stays on me all day. And I love it. And even found out that this thing here is silver, like it's proper silver, like it's solid and sturdy. And that was my first experience of feeling intuition towards drawing me towards something that wasn't right and then pushing me towards something that was right. So having that feeling of, that gut feeling of all that, it just didn't sit right. It just felt like it wasn't for me. Like some people might say that when they walk into an apartment, or they might say that when they walk into a restaurant. But like that feeling didn't feel right.
Yeah, you know when you don't.
So
feel
I went back,
yeah.
And obviously this was the one that I wanted, truly, and then so it happened. And then that's how I kind of move forward in life now, is I look for signs, and then it kind of, things are given, things are popping up. It's crazy.
And your life has changed?
My life is in flux, which is constantly changing. Like every couple of seconds. Every couple of seconds there's a thought I have that I would never thought I'd have. And then 20 seconds later, that thought then magnifies into something stronger, and stronger, and then stronger. And then it comes back down to, I want to build an app, like I started in the beginning of the conversation. Build an app that helps make this spirituality thing a little bit easier, and also it'll help a lot of people, because like for them having to try and do math on the go while it's so busy, and a lot of people just don't have the time. So if someone really wants to do this, then they just download the app, they can slowly get into it like a step-by-step process.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool, eh?
So the last video you're talking about your light clinic?
Yeah, the light therapy place.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And this episode you're talking about an app.
An app, yeah.
Jeez, you're really going places.
I think ideas are manifesting around me. The question is, which one do I pick? And where do I focus all my attention on?
Yeah.
And the app, even though it's a cool idea, I feel like unless the universe starts giving me bigger signs towards who I can actually have help me make it, then that's going to go on the back burner until I get the light therapy place up and running. But once I got the light therapy place up and running, and I'm working there and I'm operating the tills and stuff, and I've got everything pumping out and things are sorted, then I can probably put my focus back onto something that's like you can focus and do behind a computer while everybody else is using your business, right?
Do you think like when you're say for example you have multiple ideas like you have, right? I think it's better to focus on one idea at a time, or just do them all at the same time. But that'll drain you, right? It's not the best way to build a business.
I think it comes down to that intuition. It comes down to, is the path I'm going down with this idea, is there a lot of obstacles? Is there a lot of things that are kind of telling me to stop? Is it kind of the universe? I'm just going to say the universe without sounding too like hoo-ha. Obviously, I'm talking about a lot of that stuff, which I'm still trying to come to terms with myself, because a lot of people think astrology, numerology, things like it's all a bit, too much. It's a bit like weird, right? But I say with certainty that if I feel like that idea is not going the right place, something is pushing me towards the idea I want to go down. So whether it's I'm sitting at the computer and I'm starting to type up the app, and then suddenly I get an email from the real estate agent about the business, or it's the fact is that I was literally sitting down today, I had an appointment organized over Zoom to discuss building the app with an actual app developer, and then for some reason all these other things popped into my inbox that I took more of my attention, that ended up having me go to the crystal shop to have that experience with the ghost quartz, the thing that helped me like relieve my energy. So I ended up having to cancel my appointment for that. So obviously that right now is being put on the back burner, and then either my internal spiritual healing is being focused on in the last couple of days, or it's like, put that down, you have a lot to focus on, you've got to obviously write a lease, you've got to figure that out, you obviously got to plan out a renovation, you've got to plan a fit out, you've got to get people excited about the idea of using red light, you've got to build that sort of awareness about education of how it works, and then obviously you've got to operate the business. For me to be building an app in the background, it comes down to how many spinning plates can you have. I'm also a PT.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also doing like 35 to 40 sessions a week between like 5 a.m. and then 11 p.m. at night. So I'm juggling a lot of things.
I don't know how you're doing. You haven't gone crazy yet.
It's passion.
Exactly.
It's passion. It's
love what you do. So you don't.
It's passion and generosity. It's like
you don't feel that way.
I'm helping people. It's great. People come in with, like, I'm training this guy, and like, they're just overwhelmed by like how they feel after the session, even though the exercises that we're doing don't seem like they would do a lot. The amount of exhaustion people are having just by, do you need to turn it off?
Yeah, we've got one minute.
So the amount of like exhaustion they're having by doing these couple of exercises, but the exercises they're doing are correcting the issues that they have. So instead of just like putting someone on a bench press and putting them in a squat and then blah, 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 this, we're working on the things that I've identified and that I trust my gut. And then by doing those exercises, they're leaving the workout and they're like going, that's the hardest thing I've like done in years. But they come back the next week, do it again, there's improvement. And those little things that we're improving on, the foundations like calf muscles or hamstrings or understanding hip hinging or breathing or core mechanics, they make everything else better. So when you do go back to the bench press or you do go back to your squat, having a better core balance or better awareness of how your calves work or dorsiflexion, ankle flexion, shit like that, makes their life so much happier because they can do those movements better. And they also go through life without pain.
I can see the authenticity in you, and I can see it's a passion.
100%.
And that's why I'm here today still, because I feel that you give me that energy and that passion. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
No worries,
so
bro.
much for today.
So much great fun. Love it.
Thank you for tuning in. ACAR's Raw Podcast featuring Ben, the one and only PT and entrepreneur in many areas, as you can tell, going great places. So stay tuned, and many more to come.